Relax. You're in the right place. Don't be scared. You've reached the podcast crossover event of the century. Spilling Ink and the Raven, together at last. Let go of your fears. It's all right. You will meet the Grand Master in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are meeting the Grand Master. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my solo show. If you don't know where you are or what's happening, you are part of a crossover podcast experience with the Spilling Ink talk show and the Raven podcast. And I, the great and powerful Jason Lavelle, am representing both. Yes, it's all me tonight. So if you've noticed that I'm alone, very, very good. You're extremely astute. Katie, my normal co-host, is gone at the Phoenix Comic-Con. She's having a great time out there. So you get me. But really, that's what you all wanted, wasn't it? You know, just to have me. It's okay. I understand. So, for those of you who know me, who have listened to the show or watched the show, you know that I'm usually the goofy guy that doesn't take anything seriously, does my best to derail conversations, by talking about, Pop-Tarts or something like that. But, and speaking of Pop-Tarts, my final ruling on this is that toaster strudels are better than Pop-Tarts in every single way except one. And that one way is you can't just toss the package of toaster strudels in your backpack and take it along with you for, lunch or a snack, something like that. And Pop-Tarts you can do that with. Although I haven't tried it with toaster strudels, so I guess there's still a possibility there. So there's hope. There's hope for the toaster strudels on that front. But anyhow, we're talking about not getting distracted by, Pop-Tarts or Iron Man or, anything else like that. Because tonight I want to turn the spotlight on women. And this is not a political show, so don't get all excited. But both of these shows are shows that love, respect, and appreciate the amazing women in this world. And why should I be the one talking about women? I'm a 40-year-old guy. What do I think I'm doing right? Well, I can think of no better reason. The women in my life are the strongest people I've ever met. From my mother and my grandmother to my wife and daughters. And my friends, both in real life here in the physical world and all of you out there in internet land. You women are the strongest people I've ever met. And you persevere through challenges that would break most men, including me. So, all right, that was my little opening volley there. And I actually do have a show for you tonight. I've asked our wonderful community of poets to contribute pieces representing women or how they feel about women or what the women in their lives have done for them. And I'm going to read those poems for you. Now, on some of these, I'm going to offer a little bit of commentary, but not on all of them. Some poetry doesn't need commentary at all. And to be honest, some of these poems are so deep that I really wouldn't know where to begin. And the amazing thing about poetry is that you can take a huge idea or a big concept or a theme or a lot of feelings, and you can condense them into this small form that's really easily digested by anyone who's listening. And that's the beauty of poetry. So that's why we're doing poetry here. Plus, poetry allows me to read a lot of them for you guys versus one long essay, something like that. So a lot of amazing people have contributed to this show tonight, and I'm going to read them off to you here in a list. So we have L. Bachman, we have Robert Cano, we have Lily Luchesi, Paula Wilson Udell, Stacey Filak. Stacey, I never know whether it's Filak or Filak. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say Stacey Filak. We have J.D. Estrada, the most handsome poet in the world. We have Malinenko, Samuel Peralta, Jenn Waterman, Jessie Wier, and Zan Stringer-Lund. So I hope you enjoy the poetry tonight. I'm going to do my best not to mangle any of it. And while you're listening, or after you listen, preferably, because this is live, give a little thanks to the amazing women in your life. And if you are an amazing woman, give a little thanks to yourself, because you rock. You really do. Okay. That's enough of me just doing that. Let's get into some poetry here. All right, so first up, these are some poems that were sent to me by Bachman, and they're from her upcoming collection, All of My Everythings. So some of these have never been read by anyone, which is really cool. All right, the first poem is titled, Begone to Me. Begone to me, the things I cannot see, whispering who they want me to be. Begone the things, the people, and the hurtful history. This next poem is The Candle, the Wick, the Wax. Walking forward, I can see a candle residing in the night. The closer I journey toward it, I realize only then I am the candle, the wick, and the wax. Through the darkness my light is seen. Though my light is dimmed, I've burned, I've illuminated nonetheless. Upon the candle holding the flame, I am much like the wick. At times I am drowning in the melted wax world around me. Other moments I am freshly lit, unsure of my surroundings. Light is only borrowed for a short time, disappearing far too quickly, gone before appreciated. And this one is titled Broken Artist. The best works of art are painted by broken brushes, on damaged canvases, by disrupted beings trying to fix themselves. I really love that one, by the way. I think that's really nice. And the last one has not been shared at all, so this is brand new for you fans of Bachman, and it's called Passages. The passages are built of hardships, underground, buried deep, they're located within myself. As I grew, these tunnels carved me into pieces. I found strength there. I found who I was to be here. All right, now those were some poems by Bachman. I really enjoy those. And Paula Wilson Udell sent me this poem, and she told me that this was a humorous poem. So this is, I saw a dead armadillo on the side of the road. I saw a dead armadillo on the side of the road, and I thought about you, empty and hollow as the words that you used. Why I stayed so long, I have no clue. Was I just with you to keep you amused? When I saw that armadillo, it reminded me of you, empty, cold, and hollow, and not of any use at all, but to spread some of your disease. Well, all that I could do is think about you. How did I never notice all those flies there buzzing you? How was I so blind to that smell? Your rotting corpse with all your lies. How'd I not realize you're dead inside? I hope with all my heart you realize you died. You can't deny. Will you think about me? I think you will, but I'm doing fine, and I won't think of you once, till I see another dead armadillo on the side of the road. I apologize. My dogs are upstairs going a little crazy right now, so I apologize for the distraction. So she said this was a humorous one. I guess it is kind of funny, but it's also pretty dark. But I thought that was pretty good. I like it. All right. Now, occasionally here, I'm going to be kind of looking down here, looking at Facebook, see what comments you guys are leaving. So if you are leaving comments, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I'll try to look at them in between poems. That way I can respond to you if possible. All right. This is a poem by Jenn Waterman, and it's titled Goodbye. I don't need saving. I'm not your damsel in distress, and you're not my knight in tarnished armor. Why won't you leave? Don't you realize I'm not what you need? I'm not what I need. There is someone who does need you, so I won't keep you. Eventually, I'll be okay. I don't know when. Please keep your faith in me until then. Don't spare me. Certainly don't protect me. I won't break. You know, I especially like this one. And one of the wonderful things about poetry is that it can be interpreted differently by different people, and that's a great thing. And I like this one because I feel like this person is trying to save themselves, and they're trying to say, hey, we may have been a good thing, but I need my own space so that I can work on me, so that I can work on healing the way I need to, and then I'll be ready to move on. So I think that's a cool thing. Okay, here. What do we have up next? Oh, this is a long one. So this was sent to me by Zan Stringer-Lund. So I've got to settle in here for this one. Maybe get a little drink of my Pepsi because it's a lot of words. I hope you guys can hear this okay. So, Joe, if you're out there, tell me if you can hear this all right. I'm looking down at the Facebook screen so I can see you if you comment. All right, this one doesn't have a title, and I believe that Zan wrote this specifically for the show, which is pretty cool. She walks down the road and stops for the bus, the child in her arms kicking up a fuss. Tears start to stream, and I see she's had enough. I don't know her story, but it must have been tough. I sit next to her as her child cries out. I offer to help. Her face looks up with doubt. She smiles gently as I hold out my arms, promising to her child there'd be no harm. She looks out the window and begins to speak of all the secrets she's been forced to keep. A single mother, her husband had died in a crash. She worked too many hours for not enough cash. She said I must think her a sad, unfit mom. I told her no way, as I took up her palm. Let me tell you what I see in your hands. A hard-working woman who does all she can. I know it's not easy. You are so strong. For this little one, you can do no wrong. A woman who fights throughout every day. You are stronger than any, I say. Your child will grow up knowing you care. Your love will be in each thing they share. How do you know what my child would see? Because your child will one day be like me. You see, my mother was a warrior like you, and I am thankful each day for what she went through. She looked up again, tears on her cheek, and thanked me for showing she wasn't weak. You show the world each and every day. You fight for your child, come what may. The bus neared my stop, and I rose to my feet, handing the child to her mother as our eyes did meet. This young woman is the strongest kind that I know. I made sure she knew that as I started to go. I saw her again a few years down the line. A smile flashed on her face, and I returned in kind. She told me that her daughter had grown up strong because she had herself a warrior mom. This story ends here. The tale is now told. The single mother is a woman so bold. She gives her whole life for a daughter or son, and in the game of life, she's the one who won. I told you that was a long one, and I have to apologize, Zan. I think that I completely missed the second stanza here. So I'm going to read that second stanza for you guys. I sit next to her as her child cries out. I offer to help. Her face looks up with doubt. I know what it's like when you feel so alone, when all you want is to just get home. Oh, I apologize, Sam. That was a long one, and I was stumbling over my words there. I've got to say, I was struggling. Here, I'm gonna check you guys' comments here down below a second. See what's going on, because I see little notifications popping up. You know, it probably doesn't help that I have 5 windows going here at the same time I'm trying to keep track of. No, Zan, don't apologize for it being long. It was great. It was really great, man. I like it, and you know, I really love rhyming poetry too. I think it's a lot of fun. I like the cadence of it. So, but I sometimes get so caught up in just keeping the right rhythm that obviously I jumped right over that stanza. So, oh, good deal. Perfectly clear, Joe says. So I like that. So everyone can hear me well. All right. So I am a Marvel movie guy. I'm a superhero guy. I love this kind of thing. I love the action and the adventure and the mythos. And lately we've been getting a lot of kick-ass women in our superhero movies. And I absolutely love this. You know, and not even superhero movies, just movies in general. You know, you've got Wonder Woman. That was phenomenal. You've got Rey from Star Wars, strong female lead. You've got Shuri from Black Panther, who is this young girl, but the world's greatest inventor. Which is wonderful to show a female superhero that's also incredibly intelligent and doing these things that, you know, previously we see Tony Stark doing all the inventing and the super brain stuff, and Shuri comes in and it's like she'd go toe-to-toe with him any day. It's awesome. Then we've got Captain Marvel, I thought Captain Marvel was amazing. I thought she represented her role perfectly, and she got so much crap from so many people, just for being a badass woman playing her character right, which is not cool, man. We've got Jyn Erso from Star Wars Rogue One, who sacrifices everything in her world to fight for freedom. We've got Jessica Jones, and if you haven't seen Jessica Jones, you definitely want to check it out. It's on Netflix. It's another Marvel creation, but very intense, very, very dark. David Tennant is in it. If any of you are Doctor Who fans, he is in the first season as a bad guy, so that's great. And then Arya Stark. Yes, no, maybe. She's definitely a badass woman, that's for sure. Whether or not you like her, that's up to you. The Scarlet Witch from Avengers. I mean, the journey she went through, the pain and the strength and the sorrow that she had to endure and exhibit is unfathomable to me. And I know they're just movies, but man, they're in my soul, man. And let's not forget the Umbrella Academy that had several really amazing female characters. Even the bad guy female character I thought was awesome. So, and that's another one. It's on Netflix. Go watch the Umbrella Academy. It's amazing. So, why am I talking about all this crap? Well, there's a very good reason, and that's because all of this crap is actually really, really important. Because for many years, since film began, we have not had a good representation of strong female characters, and now we are finally starting to see that, and that's a wonderful thing. And I'm finally able to bring my daughters to see a movie and be proud of the women that they're seeing, be proud of the way those women are being portrayed, so that when my daughters look up to them, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, she's a good role model, and I want that, and we need more of that. So, I don't know. That's just me talking. So, all right, I've got a couple more poems here for you. These are by J.D. Estrada. And this guy, I'm not kidding you, man. Look him up. He's a handsome dude. I'll tell you what. Okay. So this first one is called The Layman's Term. It is in the ordinary man where we will find our way. A simple Joseph will suffice, possibly a Thomas, a Richard, perhaps, hell, maybe even a Harold. Still, therein may be the root of the problem, to always limit ourselves to look for the right man for the job. I love that, JD. Short and sweet. It's beautiful. This next one is called Drip. The ivy dews slowly. Healing tears trickle eagerly. Pupils dilate, reluctant. Breath catches, refuses to let go. Red, white, clear. Ruby, diamond, crystal. Devil, angel, balance. Oh, this is a tough word, guys. Adriamycin, Taxol, water. Death, heal, life. 4, 12, 1. One life, one direction, one mission, one decision, life. The river Styx will have its day, but today, I damn it, life, for the one whom mine did bear. Yeah, this is one that I'm not going to offer any commentary on because it feels so deep. I'm like, man, I don't even know where I would start. I don't. I mean, look, he's got this big, smart word, adriamycin. I mean, I don't even know what that is, man. You're rocking, JD. I love it. Thank you. Okay. I need to take another little drink here. My mouth is getting all dried out, guys. Okay. These are poems by Amanda Lenore Shears. And this one's called Sisterhood. Is it broken, the sisterhood? The place where we fight for each other? Is it tarnished? Is that why they think we will take their hits without a fight? Is it weak, that bond we have as women that makes us a force? That's how they see us, inferior, broken, and weak. They expect us to fall, when in truth we will rise, up and fight. I like that a lot. Thank you, Amanda. This is also by Amanda. This is Unbreakable Souls. Unbreakable, I stand tall, knowing you can try to control me, to push me down, and I will survive it, because I am a mother, a sister, a daughter, a woman, and women are a force. I am not what you want me to be, and I will not follow your expectations. I'm a leader, a teacher, a life giver, a woman, and women are not property. Try as you may, we will not stop. We will fight, for we are not weak. We do not need to be saved. We save ourselves. That's another really, really excellent set of poems right there. And two that really need no explanation. They tell you straight away exactly what's going on. All right. This is Her Burden by Robert Cano. It was the lull, the soundlessness, the dull, numbing lack. It was the tear, the falling curtain. Certainly her sorrows were worn in her eyes. It was the horror, the creeping doubt, which held her still. A mirror, cold and silent, returned her stares, with eyes not her own. Sorrowed tears fall. Hope was forlorn. a concept lost. She thinks it was of her making. He comes to rescue, but is irrelevant, rendered a nothing, a mere footnote. It was his joy, the moving mouth she gazed upon, from which no sound could escape, that sent her from him, or him from her. It was her sadness, her burden, and no one could be allowed to take it from her. That's one that I'd really love for Robert to explain to me, because I can feel it. I can feel what's happening, and I have an idea of what's happening, but I really want him to tell me, this is what I wrote this about, because that's a pretty heavy-duty one. All right, this is also by Robert Cano, and this is called Muse. Her subtle glances and seductive winks are found in dances in the midst of night, where bygone chances, lost beneath the sphinx, beyond expanses, seek the hope of sight. Cross the dunes of time, her solace endures, resonating chimes, as metaphor's ire has extinguished rhyme, yet seeks to assure not one fruitless climb, to obtain desire. So we waltz as one, she my unseen muse, and I, now undone, am left without choice, to no longer shun, to end the abuse of silence stun, on the mirth of voice. Guys, see what I mean about deep, guys? I mean, some of these poems are like, holy cow, they're intense, man. My poems were all like roses are red, violets are blue, and then some funny fart joke or something like that. That's about all I could come up with when I was in middle school. In truth, probably college as well. So I'm looking down right now because I'm just looking at Facebook again to see if you guys are asking me anything. I should read one of my own poems, Samuel. Well, I'll tell you what. I am going to read one of my own poems. It is going to be the last poem that I do tonight. So if you stick around long enough to hear that, you can see just what a poet I could be. Anyhow, it's not that terrible. All right, moving on here. All right, this is by Lily Luchesi, and it's called Brand New Me. I looked in the mirror today. I didn't like what I saw. A girl trying to be someone she isn't, someone she can't. That is to say, a pretty girl who has it all. Things I never will, never could. I looked in the mirror yesterday. I can barely remember who I was. Young and fearful, insecure and incomplete. She gazed at me with sad, reflected eyes, and asked what and why. I look in the mirror and wait for tomorrow. I don't know what I'll see. The girl with a story from yesterday, or the one trying to be someone. Maybe I'll see none and become a new person, a brand new me. Beautiful, Lily. I'll tell you what, I've had those same thoughts sometimes. I'd really like to look in the mirror and wake up this dashing, handsome, successful guy that rides around on catamarans and, steals expensive paintings from museums. Yes, I did just watch the Thomas Crown Affair a few nights ago. What a fun movie that is. I love it. Rene Russo, Pierce Brosnan, you can't go wrong with those two. Okay, so I have two poems. Now, you guys may have noticed a trend here, or at least what I'm trying to do is move from more lighthearted into more serious. And so we're getting more serious with some of these. And there's some really deep stuff in these and some dark stuff. So kind of buckle in for these next few authors here. This is a new friend of mine, Jessie Wier, who I met on Josh Robertson's show, Writer Imperfect. And so he sent me these poems. This first one is titled Daring Women. Allie stands like an iron lady, sturdy and unwavering with support, graceful, yet made out of iron rods and gold facets. She bends only to her own desires. She is worth more than she knows. Emily has a rainbow in her hair, the stars in her eyes, and eyeliner that cuts down the insecurity that I am a burden into others. How you glow in my hearth. Connie has a heart like a Kate Spade bag, worth more than most can afford. Filled with valuable things, only those who have met her can appraise. Her love is like a fire in the dead of winter, warm and will keep you safe. I can feel the South Beach sun with her smile. Amanda loves NASCAR. She likes watching the cars go faster. It makes her life seem like it's so much longer. Like even fast moments are still slower than the Home Depot car. It helps her cherish quick memories. She sees the good in everything. Her ability to see the small things makes my love for her massive. Finally, there is Alex, the woman with an insatiable appetite for laughter. So much so that she makes others laugh just so she can have her fill. She has 6-inch ribbon curls for hair and a presence you can only experience in Technicolor 3D. She and I have traded life debts, yet I will seemingly never be able to repay mine. Keep laughing, Alex. Someone is bound to join you. Daring women help keep this world spinning. Thank the daring woman in your life today, and tell them why you're thankful. That was a really good. I like that a lot. And Jessie, if you're out there watching this, I want to know what that life debt that you traded with Alex was. I'm really interested in that. I need to know your secrets. Okay. So I warned you guys that we're getting a little deep and dark here. This one is called Dress for Dancing, but Pack for War. I'm going to take another little drink of my pop before I read this. I never realized how dry your mouth gets when you're just talking constantly like this. By the way, Diet Wild Cherry Pepsi, if you'd like to sponsor our show, I'd be okay with that, for sure, because I drink a lot of it. Okay. Dress for dancing, but pack for war. I'm standing in the mirror, trying to get my God-given glory to fit nicely between my legs, hoping that it might emulate the same flower my sisters were always told to cherish and protect. From men, unless they were given a silver band and gemstone in front of an old man who said it was okay for them to celebrate their bodies and desires, the same way men are told to well into their early teens. I slide up a dance belt to help flatten the irregular bulge, hoping this will be enough to make me finally feel pretty wearing a skirt I bought 8 months ago and still haven't worn in public. I place the black bra donated by a friend for a movie that both celebrates my transness and violently lets people disrespect its validity in the same breath. I stuff it full of Charmin and pray that everyone in the club decides to look, not touch. Pulling on a tiny skirt and sliding on a crop top seal away what I wish to hide for tonight. Tonight I am no longer what everyone expects me to be. I take a look in the mirror and hear my sister's voice in the back of my head. Be careful, and call me when you get out of the club so that I know you're safe. The last thought I have before I step out of my apartment front door is that if tonight is my last night on earth, why not spend spend it looking like a gorgeous young being sent to earth to remind all of you that my body is more beautiful when you allow me to decorate it with all of the things that make me feel beautiful. To remind you that I am more than what's in my pants, that I have a heart, and it beats like the war drums my Celtic ancestors pounded. Hoping that God can hear them and give them safe passage through a war zone they prayed they would conquer. My war zone isn't the highlands of Scotland or the rolling hills of Ireland, but the long avenues and boulevards of the city where cannon fodder is replaced by catcalls, and gunshots look like snickers, and secret whispers about the man in the dress walking down the street. Wars are happening all over the world, and the battlefield I crossed today is called Williamsburg at 2 a.m. As I walk home, thinking to myself, I can't tell if that man behind me is trying to follow me home so that he can rape me or to kill me. Then being reminded that it could be both. It's a good thing that along with good advice, my sisters armed me with a butterfly knife that I keep taped to the inside of my bra. Yeah, that is a heavy one. And Jessie, I really hope that I did that justice, because I've got a hell of a lot of respect for that poem. That was beautiful. You know, on our last little intermission from poems there, I was kind of talking about superhero movies and Marvel, that kind of thing, and how much I enjoy them. And, you know, it got me thinking about, and of course I'm not going to give you any kind of spoilers, but in Avengers Infinity War, Vision tells the Scarlet Witch that it's not fair. It's not fair that it's her, but it is. And it was a really powerful moment. If you're a sensi like me, and I am a sensitive guy, and I'm reminded that this is the world that women live in. Women are raised in a world that isn't fair, in a world that most of us as men will never understand. It would be easy, I think, to crumble and conform under the weight of oppression, but they don't. Women rise up. They fight their way through this army of men and women that tell them that they should stay in their place. And they say, go fuck yourself. And they take that life that they deserve. Now, it sounds easy when I say it like that, when it's just one or two sentences describing what's a lifetime of struggle. And I'm sorry that I cannot represent you more fully. I know you're out there, though, and I know that you are fighting and clawing your way to the top of this really messed up world and society, and I'm applauding you. I'm cheering you, and if you ever need it, if I ever can, I'll offer you my hand and I'll help in any way I can. But you're stronger than I am, so if I can help, I will, but you'll probably kick my ass along the way. All right. We're moving in to the final act. This is the final, 4 authors left. So I'm going to take a little hit of my vape, though. You like how I leaned to the side as if I was getting out of the line of sight of the camera? Okay. This one is by also a new author friend. I met this woman, I believe it was last year at a comic convention, and I really enjoyed talking to her, and so we connected online, as you do these days, and she's actually going to be appearing live on a Raven show, on a Raven Live show at my local library, so it's really exciting. And she's a poet. I thought she was only novelist, and so I'm pleasantly surprised here, and I can't wait to read these. All right, so these two poems are by Stacey Filak, and again, these have smart people words in them. So if I mess everything up, that's why, because you know I'm not smart. Okay. Purple Heart. 3 weeks a year, everything turned purple. Our tongues, our fingertips, the puddles of bird shit on car windshields. We left purple shoe prints on the linoleum until our mother banned shoes in the kitchen. And then, my sister's grape-like toe prints, a treasure trail through the house. 3 weeks a year, our entire play life revolved around mulberry trees, masters of children's songs and denizens of our yard, usually so boring, except the 3 weeks each summer when they burst into enterprise. Our buzzing, grubby fingers foraging, a plastic ice cream bucket, brimming with berries, bugs, leaves, and dog hair. A stash of Dixie cups and a card table by the road. My sister, the budding entrepreneur, worked tirelessly on our sign, but I enjoyed the romance of the mysterious farm stand, full of sweet, unadvertised bounty. For 3 weeks each year, we only ever had one customer, our grandmother, whose body curves did little to hide the hard corners of her generation, would pull into our driveway each afternoon, exclaim over the glory of our product, and purchase the lot with her spare change. She vowed each year that she would make jam, and I must have been 12 before I found the pile of purple mush beside her garage and realized the absence of years' worth of jam. The next summer, my 13th, when the world turned purple, I picked and pawned, one last time, homage to my childhood, and my grandmother, who only ever hugged with one arm, who barked more than she spoke, whose house was a museum of undesired collectibles, who first told me I could write a book, who loved with difficulty, but also honesty, whose favorite color was purple, drove across town to buy the lot. I have to tell you, Stacey, that really brings me back to my childhood, out in the country with my own grandmother, who means everything in the world to me. Well, it's beautiful. This next one is called The Alchemist Turtle. My daughter is a turtle on the highway, head and limbs pulled in tight as protection from a world that questions her resourcefulness. Helpless in a rush of traffic, the shell she wears is fire-hardened glass, shining like diamonds, with sweat and laughter and rage, delicate but unbreakable, the accretion of skins a young girl might wear. Within it, she is god of her own small spaces, judge and jury, artist and executioner, slave and master. She paints its golden underside with an elixir, equal parts desire and disgust, until it's sickly sweet, a turpentine of discovery. She draws in the ocean because she is lonely, makes friends with the starfish in the night sky, and reads by the light of the electric eel. Within her shell, she is goddess of the cresting wave, and savior of sea foam. We are shipwrecks that dot the floor of her home, broken and beautiful, a treasure within her watery grasp. My girl is a water nymph, great white and wind gust, hurricane and sand-strewn picnic blanket, the surf at dusk and flotsam-strewn floodplain. When her seas are calm and the inner shell glows at sunset, I ride the raft of her childhood into the lagoon, and if the wind is right, I won't drown in the storm-tossed waves, but rather lie on my back, stare up at the growing dark, and hear the song of my firstborn, singing the sea lions to sleep within her golden glass cage of self. In the morning, after such a night, when the ocean is calm and the sun rises clear, I wake to find her reborn. She is the girl that she always was, her hair a wig of twigs and gnats, her body a walking stick, her heart a thunderbolt. And as she eats her breakfast, sleep crusting her eyes like lava flows, I can almost remember her as she used to be, when she didn't carry her home on her back, and thought I was a god instead. Whew. So there's a lot going on in that one. A lot going on with that one. And as a father, watching my own daughters grow up, that poem really triggered something inside me. Not necessarily bad, but something, kind of a sad nostalgia. Because as we watch our daughters grow, it is a hard thing. As much as I want to be able to see them go out into the world and have a life, it is tough watching our daughters grow. All right. Well, Samuel, if you're still out there listening and watching, I have some poems by the great Samuel Peralta. And I'm going to take a little drink before I read these, because these are a little bit long ones, and these are kind of heavy, guys. Hi, Lynn Lesher. I see you there on the page. Yeah, Rebecca, those were great poems by Jessie Wier, weren't they? They were intense. So, and these ones are good ones, guys. So, oh man, I didn't look up the pronunciations on these, Samuel. I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up the pronunciations, and if they're wrong, you guys can send me an email, like a corrections corner type of deal, and I'll deal with it then. Okay. This is Eulogy for a Young Woman Assassinated in Iran. Yours the first death, the messenger, the voice, crying out of Persia, by a single shot from this life untimely ripped. Louder now than that gunshot grows the noise, Neda, Rohat Shad, anguish, lamentation, by sorrow swept. Where now your heart, bullet sequestered, like a stricken love, in your severed oracle? Sister, you fell, burning, but with that fall you shattered our glass lives, removed from our unseeing eyes the folded veil. For now we cannot mourn you at Haftater or Behesta Zahra. Instead commemorate you from our homes. With prayer we recall your fallen, martyred, as if in Karbala, solitary voices raised, no longer alone. Thus we offer up our invocation to your final breath. Beyond the 7th and the 40th day, let resound life's majestic insurrection against this first death. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. Yeah, guys, that had some tough words in it there. Yeah, and I totally didn't do my research, so I apologize if I butchered any of those words, but I really enjoy that poem, even though the subject matter is not very nice at all. All right, this poem is called Past Lives. 1. In my first life, I see myself, second daughter to the late lieutenant and his wife. He a soldier fallen on the front lines of Dong Zai. She a concert pianist, now teaching me along with the neighbor's children after school. She straightens our postures, raps our knuckles with a ruler as we mangle Rachmaninoff. Sometimes, at night when she thinks I'm asleep, she plays for herself, their song. 2. In my second life, I see myself a teacher in the jungles of Mindanao. Mindanao? That's a tough word, guys. That's a tough word. All right. In my second life, I see myself a teacher in the jungles of Mindanao, 2 months pregnant, my partner and I marching villagers through irregular verbs. Typhoons trespass across the borders of our peace, stirred by the shrapnel of insurgent monsoons. Gunfire. We dive for shelter, covering our heads and mouthing prayers in a foreign tongue. Sometimes our prayers are answered by a different God. In my third life, I see myself at the bus stop, sniping with my son, 3rd grade now, at St. Luke's Catholic School. He wants to bring with him this morning's letter from his adoptive father. I tell him later. When I open it myself on our driveway, fine sand seeps out, swept into the envelope from the storms that ring his barracks, a thin stream marking time until the grains run out. In my fourth life, I see myself cursing a vending machine at Dover AFB, its stark metal denying iced tea for my mother. And suddenly, inexplicably, my life, all my past lives, come clear to me, forever framed in that inexorable cycle of reincarnated grief. My mother takes my hand. An hour away, the transport from the airfield at Basra drones towards us, draped in mourning, bearing her grandson home. Oh, that's another heavy one, guys. So, I was initially going to only do 2 poems from Sam, but I loved all of them so much that he sent me that I decided I'm just going to keep on going with it. And hopefully you guys don't mind too much. Samuel is a really brilliant poet, so I'm hoping I do him justice here. And then the broadcast is almost done, guys. We've only got a few more. Thanks for sticking with me all this time. Oh, this is Cento from the Diary of Anne Frank. 1. Here in the secret annex, look how a single candle can define and yet defy the darkness. 2. The reason I'm starting a diary is that I have no real friend. Neither I nor anyone else, for that matter, may be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. It doesn't matter. I feel like writing. The young are not afraid of telling the truth. But more than that, I want to draw out what lies buried in my heart, shake off everything, vanish my sorrows, rebirth courage. 3. A new prescription for gunfire nerves. As the shooting gets louder, make your way to the nearest wooden staircase. Run up and down a few times, being sure to stumble at least once. With all the scratches, the din of running and falling, you won't even hear the shooting, much less worry about it. Yours truly has put this magic formula to use with tremendous success. 4. Why is mankind so insane? Why make enormous planes, bombs, and prefabricate houses for reconstruction? Why spend millions on the war each day and nothing for artists, for the poor? Why do people starve, with mountains of food spoiling in other parts of the world? There is in humanity simply an urge to destroy, an urge to kill, to murder and rage, until all the world, without exception, undergoes a transformation. Wars will be waged. Everything that has been built up, cultivated, and grown will be destroyed, disfigured, after which the world will have to begin over again. 5. The world will keep on turning without me. I've reached the point where I hardly care whether I live or die. 6. Love, What is love? I don't think you can put it into words. I love you, with a love so great that it couldn't keep inside my heart, but had to leap out and reveal itself in all its magnitude. 7. Who has inflicted this upon us? Who has made us different from all other people? Who has allowed us to suffer so terribly up till now? Crying may bring relief, as long as you don't cry alone. I want to go on living even after my death. I don't want to have lived in vain. 8. I realize that this period of my life has irrevocably come to a close. Gone forever. Let's not talk about it anymore. But if you still want anything, please write. Write because I can say what I mean much better on paper. Paper has more patience than people. Don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains. 9. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder, which will destroy us. I feel the suffering of millions, and yet, if I look up into the heavens, I believe not everyone has the gift of believing in heavenly things. I believe, in spite of everything, I believe that mankind is really, at its heart, good. 10. A single candle. Here, in the secret annex, see how a single candle can defy the darkness. All right. Bravo, Samuel, Peralta. Those were absolutely beautiful. Just beautiful. Now, I am going to do a little refresh on the Facebook screen down here. And guys, I have just a couple more poems for you. If you've stuck with me this whole time, you guys are champions. I know this has been an hour of, just Jason reading, and, that can get kind of boring. Usually I'm doing some kind of spectacular antics, but, all right. So this next author, I didn't know until a few days ago. She is a friend of a friend, and she is tonight's headliner, I think. She's not the last poet that I'm going to read. The last poem is actually going to be one by me. But Ali Malinenko, you are our headliner for the night. I read these poems several times, and I cried the first time I read them. And that's why I kept reading them, because I was like, well, I'm going to have to be able to get through this without tears in my eyes. But this is serious stuff, guys. These are heavy-duty poems right here. And I really appreciate, Allie, you sending these in to me. This first poem is, "There is nothing stronger than a broken woman who has rebuilt herself. How do you learn to be worthy? This should be a textbook given out in class, to every girl, to every queer. It will be thick, and the font will be too tiny to read. How do you learn to be worthy when your stories don't matter? When you're told to stand on the sidelines? When you have sat at the table of self-hate and eaten everything you can get your hands on? How do you learn to be worthy? How do you undo what has been done to you? How do you manage the trauma? This book would be a journal, a confessional, a series of tweets from women about how they breathe, stretch, and wake up every day into a world that hates them. It would be a book about how they stay alive. It would be about survival, not happiness, not success, not mastery, just survival. It would talk about being the only woman in the room. It would talk about shame. It would talk about laughing at yourself in order to stay safe. It would talk about being invisible and living in that invisibility as if that were okay. It would talk about power and how power is not something you are allowed to touch. This book would not talk about men. There are already enough books written about men. There are tomes, and they are studied in schools, with accolades and tall, wide halls. Plus, this book about learning to be worthy is not for them, because the binding is not big enough for that conversation, too. How do you learn to be worthy in a world that tells you you are not? How do you carry blood in your veins, thoughts in your mind, beats in your heart? How do you stand up every day and decide that you count when everyone around you tells you you do not? How do you learn to be worthy? This book has 2 words, and they are not me too. They are what else? That is a masterpiece of a poem. Beautiful. Thank you. I have 2 more poems here from Allie. And they are just as cheerful as that first poem, in case you were wondering, guys. This one is titled, A Woman Should Teach Her Daughter How to Navigate This World. 1. Smile and laugh. Seek out and call to joy, but only smile when you mean it. Don't let them make a decoration out of you. Don't smile when they tell you to. You will be told often and not kindly. 2. Walk with a key between your fingers. Spine straight. Keep the music off in your headphones. Never alone at night. Be aware of who is behind you and who is coming towards you. Be aware of everything. 3. Wear clothes you like, that make you feel good. Love your body because it is strong and beautiful and will carry you through this life, but no others will comment and judge. There is nothing you can do about this. 4. Others will touch you without asking, sometimes playfully, and they will expect you to smile and enjoy the attention. Sometimes they will touch you violently. You need to protect yourself from both. Use your words to stand up for yourself, unless it could get dangerous. There is no way to tell when it could get dangerous. 5. Read, learn, and be curious. See as much of the world as you can. Don't hold back your opinion. Speak with confidence in your beautiful mind. You have a voice, and you should use it. They will call you shrill when they don't like it, and good girl when they do. Both will make you feel terrible. 6. Sometimes you will be the only woman in the room. Sometimes this will not matter. Most times it will. You are just as smart as the rest of the people in that room. Your opinion and thoughts count just as much. Regardless, not everyone will see it this way. They will imply often and loudly that you do not belong. 7. Not all women will be your friend. Many will cozy up to men for protection, leaning in to the patriarchy. Regardless, we mustn't abandon those women. Learn everything you can about the patriarchy. It is slippery and dangerous and multi-sided. At some point, it will crawl inside someone you love and use their words and their voice to say things that you will never forget. Understand it can only be dismantled from the inside. Understand that you will never be on the inside. 8. If you forget everything else, remember this. When you ask yourself at night, am I good enough? Regardless of what the world tells you, the answer will always be yes. Oh, another beautiful and heavy poem from Ali Malinenko. I love her poetry. Ali, I need to read a lot more of your poetry because you are phenomenal. All right, guys, so I have one more poem from Ali, and then kind of my closing arguments poem. And then I'll be out of your hair. All right. Well, we definitely want this one because this one's great. Okay. If the future is female, today is the future. We took to the streets first. That fact should never be overlooked. We stood shoulder to shoulder in defiance. To be disobedient feels so damn good. And it caught like a fire, because then we found our collective voice and told our story online where they couldn't ignore it. Our pain, our humiliation, our rapes and abuses. Newspapers said we toppled great men, but we did not. We saw accountability for actions. We saw justice, sometimes. Still, some of us didn't make it. Shot by exes with access to weapons. Gunned down with families in our living rooms and churches. Some of us were mowed down by white men screaming that they will not be replaced. Some of us were put on display to bear our pain to a panel of white men who wanted details, but not too much detail. Who saw a truth laid plain and ignored it because they did not and would not believe a woman. Afterwards, some of us showed up in community centers, in towns all over the country, empowered for the first time to run for office. First we took the streets, then we took the booth, and today, this little day passes into history. Today, over 100 women will be sworn into the 116th Congress of the United States of America. Women with voices and ideas and maybe the power to change what felt unchangeable. Women who said no, loudly. Women who were called shrill. Women who didn't give up, who wanted better for their families and themselves. Women who didn't wait for power to come to them. Women who took it instead. The long arc of history, they say, bends slowly. But today I feel the pull of all those women, dragging history just a little further into the future. Whew. Love it. Love it. Bravo. Bravo. Ali, you are amazing. All of you are amazing. I'm sorry. I'm crushing on Ali's poetry. Wait, Rebecca says, show my butt? No, not showing my butt. What's happening over there on Facebook? No, I'm wearing pants. I'm not showing anyone my butt. Okay. All right. So, guys, I am not a poet. I write books and I do podcasts. But since we were doing a poetry show, I felt like I should include a poem. I almost said include a poetry, which would kind of fit with me not being a poet. So, this one's going to be a little strange. It doesn't have a title. It's kind of just my thoughts on my life. So here you go. It smells like sweat, barely hidden beneath powdery deodorant. The bathroom is a mess. Hair products, makeup, 3 different types of hair straighteners live on the bathroom counter. The trash contains tampons and used pads that haven't quite been wrapped properly. Sometimes there's a drop of blood on the toilet seat. I clean it up. The shower is filled with bottles. Bottles for hair, bottles for faces, bottles for bodies, bottles for bottoms. Sometimes they fall when I'm in the shower and strike my feet. I put them back on their ledges. My middle daughter is 17. She's smart, she's popular, and beautiful. She has a sharp wit and a sharper tongue. Boys come over to see her, to take her out, to date her. I watch them. I watch them like I watch a strange dog, their faces, their movements, their energy, looking for that tell, that one thing that will tell me, are they dangerous? But I say nothing. I hug my daughter, I tell her I love her, and I trust her, because she is stronger than me and smarter than me, and I know that she is watching them too. Last year, my son told me he has a boyfriend in California. I had no idea he liked boys. I said, cool. I had never been to California. Now we have a reason to go. My youngest daughter exclaimed, what's his name? Can I see a picture? My oldest daughter, 20, a fierce, stubborn mind, truculent and immovable, yet at the same time, incredibly fragile. She calls me from 3 states away, nervous, I can tell. I think she may be pregnant. I have a girlfriend, she says, and a boyfriend. We pause for a moment, and that moment is full of uncertainty, but also trust. They mean a lot to me, she says. Can we come visit? It makes my heart happy. A few days ago, we rushed out to save our youngest daughter from a sleepover gone wrong. One of the girls had become a tyrant, and my daughter locked herself in the bathroom, crying. Another girl pounds on the bathroom door, screaming that she's sorry, that she wants to kill herself for being a bad friend. They are 10 years old. At home on the couch, I squish her next to me, not speaking, just crying. My wife watches. She makes comfortable food, puts on a good movie. She knows that this is a time my daughter needs with me. For like me, she was born with a heart that feels too much. She knows that this is a special time, a time when it's okay to cry, to feel fear and confusion, a time of growth and understanding. My wife didn't have the love she deserved when she was young. It did not break her, or stop her, or slow her down. She is the artist, she is the law, she is the heart, and she is the rock. She calls me one night. Don't be mad, she insisted. I assume she's found another dog. It's not a dog. It's a homeless man, cold and hungry. I'm afraid. He's not in the car with you, is he? No. He met me at a hotel. I purchased a stay for him. We don't have much money. I always worry about things like that. She didn't. All she worries about is what's right, what's good, what she can do. She didn't get the love she deserved when she was young, but now she makes sure that everyone else has more than enough. Okay, so that was my poem. As I said, I'm not a poet, so I know it's not up to par with you practicing poets. But I appreciate you sticking with me through that. So, I'm a sensitive guy, and that's okay with me. I've got a heart of squishiness and cuddles, because I have 3 daughters and an amazing wife who are tough as hell. So it's okay for me to be soft and squishy, and I'm fine with that. Our house is a safe place for girls and for anyone else who comes to it. And do I worry what's going to happen when my girls leave the nest, so to speak? Of course. But I can't be too afraid because I know how strong they are. I know that we've taught them right. We've taught them that it's their minds and no one else's that needs to decide what happens in their lives. That even us, I can't tell them what's right for their lives. I can only equip them with knowledge that hopefully they can put to use making those decisions. So, well, I just want to share one more little thing in closing here. And it's not a poem. This happened a couple weeks ago at work. I work at a vet's office, for any of you who didn't know. I walked into a conversation between my coworkers, and one of them kind of gestured to me as I walked in and said, "Yeah, Jason's a feminist." And I had no idea what we were talking about, but I was like, "Hell yeah, I am." And another lady piped up and said, "Well, I'm not a feminist." And I glanced at her real quick, and I just kind of glanced back away and went to work on the computer. I didn't want to glare at her or say something rude. I didn't want her to think I was judging her for her opinion, because she's allowed to have her opinions. And about 60 seconds, maybe a little longer, went by, and she said, well, I guess I don't know what that means." And I was so happy, because I wanted to talk to her about it, and I wanted to tell her what it means, because I had the feeling that she didn't. And I said, well, a feminist is someone that believes that women and men should have equal rights, should be treated as equals. And so she took a few seconds. She said, well, yeah, I agree with that. And I said, yeah. Now, this is a really smart woman. She's a doctor. She's far smarter than I am. And yet this is something that she hadn't learned. It's something that she hadn't been taught. She just had an idea in her head of something, and it wasn't the way things really are. And so I wanted to say to you that we have to remember to help teach our young people and teach our friends what we are fighting for and why, because not everyone knows, not everyone understands. We can't get mad at that. We need to educate first, and the education doesn't work, then well, yeah, I can't be responsible for anything after that. But okay, guys, we've been going for over an hour here now. I'm sure you're tired of listening to me. I really enjoyed being able to spend this time with you. I hope you enjoyed the poetry. I want to say cheers to Mama Estrada, and to the rest of you, good night.